Hello everybody, this is Waldorf.
And this is Statler.
And we're continuing with our sneak previews. Our
preview of the preview. Yeah.
Of the previews of the response to
the previews.
To the previews.
As mentioned in the other preview.
So tonight, whatever, we're going to be looking at the Ogre Kingdoms.
Ogre Kingdoms and
Ogre Khans.
Ogre Khans, sorry, yes. And I repeated what you said.
And you just repeated
exactly, like a lemming. The lemming that I am.
You definitely are.
So you can find this. They're all on the Ogre boards, but if you go to the ACS update thread, general discussion, you'll see the updates for all the armies, and this happens to be right on the first page, and they put all the links here so you can go here.
Yep. And Ogre Kingdoms are one of these that did it right. All the links are on the initial post. You don't have to go scrolling down through all the posts to see all.
They did it right as far as consolidating the information and making it easy to find.
What do you think I was referring to?
I thought you were talking about maybe their updates were right.
All their updates are fantastic.
Exactly. So we're going to find out together. I mean,
we will.
This is an army that we believe is currently overpowered, and 1.3 is top tier army.
This army takes some abuse from us in the past.
Yes, especially from you.
And a little bit from me.
Yes.
I've seen somewhere about the Ogre Fist, but I don't see it here. What they did to the Ogre Iron Fist or whatever they want to call it.
Yeah. So
anyway,
So we would expect.
So we got to stick with what we know. But
what we know, and we'll see. If they've taken care of some of the
egregious
strengths of the army.
All right. So we'll start off with the first item, a magical item. This is Venom Sting, which they can apply to a brace of pistols or an Ogre crossbow.
Mm-hmm.
The wielder can shoot 4 shots with strength 4 AP2 that always hit on a 4-up regardless of any modifier. These shots have poison and magic.
So that, what was that weapon? The common item?
The shotgun that you would always see. Yeah.
Which I think is gone now, if I remember correctly.
Well, they haven't shown all the weapons, so we don't necessarily know if it's gone. But
well, seeing this, I have to imagine that it's gone. Maybe that's what I should say. Correct. Otherwise, they'd have 2 of them.
Yeah, that'd be kind of interesting.
Of course, it'd fit the ogres, but yeah. So 4 shots. It's interesting. It can be on both a brace of pistols, which would have 2 shots, or a ogre crossbow, which has 1. So.
Right. So yeah, it doesn't matter either way. You're getting 4 shots.
Right.
You should hit twice, strength 4 AP2, basically.
Yeah.
Depending on how much it costs, of course. Your brace of pistols are getting 2 shots. This is pretty much giving you 2 hits.
Right.
Basically an extra hit is what it looks like on average.
Yeah.
Plus poison and magic attacks.
Yes.
So, looks interesting. Just see what it costs.
Yeah, magic attacks is nice against ethereal.
Yeah.
Or whatever it's called now. Spectral.
So, I mean, this looks interesting.
It's interesting. It's fine.
Doesn't look crazy.
No.
Next thing
the Trample trinket. We were really bad with names in the TT, whatever it is.
Task team?
Task team, yeah. The Trample trinket doesn't sound very ogre-like.
I think that's going to win the prize for best name.
Yeah, I think they should be forced to keep this name.
They should.
Yes. The bearer gains Stomp D3+1, and additionally, all models in its unit may reroll unsuccessful to wound rolls from Stomp. So it's unclear to me. It's implied that you could only be on. It doesn't say you have to only be on foot, and it says the bearer.
Correct.
So if you're mounted on a Tusker, since it's a combined model, do you get this or not?
I'm thinking no, because the bearer gains stomp. The bearer is the rider. The rider can't stomp if he's riding. They don't let the ogre stomp if you're riding a Tusker. They only let the Tusker stomp.
Right.
So I think if it's a ride. Doesn't say you can't take it, but I don't think it does anything for you if you're riding.
Yeah, so that's...
Anyway.
Yeah, that would seem to make sense, but yeah.
But I'm using logic against ogres, and that's just wrong.
Yeah, exactly. So this one's not clear. It's not as clear as I think it should be to me. Rerolling your unsuccessful wounds for stomps for a unit is a nice thing. Usually you have 3 guys. But
it's usually only affecting 3, maybe 4 attacks.
Yeah, so...
Except it's also adding the D3.
But he gains the D3+1, and he's probably going to be strength 5 at least.
He is.
So that's
Well, strength 5, because most things don't bump your stomp at strength.
Right. Unless you have something a big name that increases your strength, but so or if you put it on somebody who's only strength 4.
So whatever this thing costs, it's gaining you D3
plus 1.
Well,
so
the plus 1 you already have, so it's gaining.
That's true.
It's gaining you D3, probably strength 5 attacks, auto hits. Sorry, hits. It's gaining you D3 hits and re-rolling wounds, which is probably gaining you another wound
Correct.
or 2. So this thing just needs to be priced where it's pricing it. As long as it's priced where it's giving you basically, looks like almost 4 additional wounds a turn.
Yeah.
A combat turn. It just needs to be priced that appropriately, and
Yes.
it's fine.
And this is a what? This is a trinket, so it goes against your balance. It goes against your magic item
It's a
allotment.
trinket.
Yes. So okay, I mean, depends what it costs.
I don't imagine it's going to be costed properly, but anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it does help the grinding ability of a unit that doesn't need to grind any better, probably. But
Correct. A unit that's already pumping out plenty of attacks.
yeah.
And beating you up.
But okay.
I guess this is trying to make up for the fact that the Iron Fist, they're losing their extra attack in the front rank. I think maybe are they?
I don't know.
Why do I keep thinking I've seen that?
I don't know.
Anyway, okay, whatever. There you have that.
Okay.
No one's shown me the Ogre book or anything, but I could have sworn that's been published someplace. That was the first one?
Yeah, I think so.
So let's go on to number 2. Part 2.
Yeah.
Let the hunt begin. The Mammoth Hunter.
Okay.
So the Mammoth Hunter are going to gain Vanguard.
But they lose...
Sorry, going to have access
Yes.
to Vanguard.
So first, they're going to no longer benefit from light troops if they're on a Tusker. I don't see how that's... Maybe that's just a streamlining because it doesn't make any sense that they have it because currently they can't attach anything except for those saber cats, whatever the heck they're called.
I think that can only be done if you're on foot.
And I thought so. So I don't see why that even matters. So maybe it's just a streamlining. I don't see how it impacts anything.
Okay.
Unless they've changed something that can now attach to units or something, but it doesn't say that. So yeah, it just seems to be nothing. Vanguard's definitely a big deal and something that's quick and tough.
Okay. Yep.
Which these guys are.
And now you can hang out with Yetis, of course, is what it's saying.
And I'm a Yeti. I always liked Yetis. If they were in any other army, everyone would take them. So
yeah, they suffer from being
being
just good instead of really good.
Yeah. So when you have a multitude of riches, some of the riches have to get left in the vault. So yeah,
Vanguard's nice.
Then they will extend Inspiring Presence to all tigers.
They basically gain Inspiring Presence for tigers.
Yeah, which was the only negative those guys had was because they were cheap for their stats except for their leadership.
Right.
Well,
they're not that cheap. Tigers are pretty expensive, especially single models.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, and
so that's that. Hunters will have access to hunting furs that grant additional point of armor if it's on foot.
Okay, so they get better protection. So I guess they don't see a lot of hunter use,
other than as cowboys.
Except as cowboys, but
right.
Yeah. So they've not really hurt the cowboy thing here. It's just they've given it other abilities. And giving you a better armor save if you're on foot.
Yeah.
Well,
it's pretty funny. Not all changes are directly positive. In addition to losing Bluffer's helm,
which everybody loses.
Pretty funny because it's like this was their item.
Yeah, like it's a nerf for this army, but nobody else. Yeah.
Right. Anyway.
Okay.
So moving on, they have the Wild Heart. This one basically gives an additional 50 points than what it used to. It's a big name that if you take this, now you get an additional 50 points. So now you get 150 with it instead of 100.
Hey, what does Wild Heart do?
Wild Heart?
Yeah.
It does something. You sure you want to know this?
Yeah, I want to know what it is.
You should have asked me this before this thing started. Wildheart is for Mammoth Hunters only. It loses. Oh, it makes your Mammoth Hunter lose his not a leader. So your Mammoth Hunter can therefore be the general.
Okay.
And a single Mammoth Hunter can be upgraded to a Battle Standard Bearer for 50 points. And then it does things. It does things like it reduces the core you have to take to 20%, but it does not let you take any Coggins, Bruisers, Mercenary Vets, Bombardiers, or Thunder Cannons. I mean, it's a restricting thing.
So if you wanted to play like a mounted army, you could put him there and put him in a unit.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So
that'd be the reason for it. I'm not sure you'd want to do that, but
correct.
Okay.
So next we have the Hunting Pennant.
Yeah, the Hunting Pennant is an enchantment for a banner. It doesn't say that it's one or many. That will grant a unit Swift Stride. So you're gonna see every ogre army have at least one block of troops with Swift Stride.
Yes, I think this is a must-have item.
If you play ogres,
Play ogres. Well, the interesting thing, if the mercenary vets rules, who knows what they're doing with the mercenary vets, but if that stays the same, remember Swift Stride was one of their options.
Correct.
Now you can save that option for something else and take a banner for that. Of course, that limits what other banners you can use with them.
Yeah.
Which will limit them as well. So who knows? Again,
yeah, it's always interesting. People talk about how this is a slow army, but it's got movement.
It's not a slow army.
It's got movement 6, which makes it faster than
tell
most.
Tell that to my orcs. This keeps up with my fastest. This is an inch slower than my fastest model.
It's an inch slower than most fast cavalry. Most cavalry armies, not fast cavalry. Most cavalry armies.
Right.
Yeah, it's wow. That's going to help put the pressure on because they don't do that. Okay.
They don't do that enough.
They don't do that enough. Yeah.
No, they're only movement 6. They can't put pressure on.
Yeah.
So let's move on to part 3, shall we? Part 3 of the Ogre previews, and we see here we go. The Iron Fist. This is what I was looking for.
Yes.
I knew I'd seen this before.
Mm-hmm.
Trouble Team, Iron Fist, almost mandatory, paired weapons. Okay, so where's the answer?
It's at the last, this bottom paragraph. So with the rationale, we decided to work off the shield design, but give it an ogre upside, because of course it's ogre, it's got to have an upside. Smash face. So while it will not be a revolutionary design, we end up with the Iron Fist now granting +1 armor save.
Okay, that's good. It's
parry, but on foot only, so you don't get it for the mounted guys. But you still keep parry. +1 attack.
So what did you lose?
The +1 initiative.
But everything lost that.
Yes, but it's simple. Yeah, sure, okay.
So it does not ignore parry, but it gives you parry.
It gives
only
you parry.
On foot. So you're not going to see it on the mounted guys much anymore.
Yeah, I don't think you would unless the armor save's important. But unless you don't have a shield option, then you take it for the armor save.
Yeah, I'm sure you think you do.
If you don't have a shield option, then you take it because you want the armor save.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry. +1 AS is.
Oh, it's not +1 attack.
No.
Attack skill.
Is that the attack weapon skill?
I've seen it called too many different things in different previews.
No, it is +1 attack armor save. I'm sorry. It's +1
armor save, +1 attack.
Parry and +1 attack. Okay,
correct.
So basically,
You said it the first time.
Yeah, so it doesn't give it the initiative bonus, which was so bad.
So that's the only thing it really lost, right?
So, yes, basically.
Okay. And except the on foot only.
And on foot only.
Which is a big change.
Yeah.
Because it came off the Tuskers.
The Tuskers is the one thing. It's a nerf to the Iron Fist.
It is.
I don't think it's enough of a nerf, but it's a nerf to the Iron Fist.
We'll see if it dropped it. It's almost.
I'm sure the price will.
Point.
I'm sure they'll drop the points. It'll probably only like 1 point now.
And you're talking about me.
Yeah.
You're the one that's being a little bitter.
Well, I'm never liked the Iron Fist.
But
Since in Ninth Age, I just think it does too many things.
Well, I thought it was fantastic back when it was old. I mean, when you had the choice, it did
When it was
this
a choice.
or this.
And I would be fine with that. You either took +1 attack or you took +1 armor save. It gave you flexibility that other options. I like that.
Right.
I don't like that it gives you both.
All right. So
brings us to the Hell
Fist.
Your favorite item?
Comes as a surprise to no one that this is going away.
Yes, because
Perfect. Needed to.
The most broken piece
Had
in the game.
had no place in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
So that's fantastic.
So the new replacement for this is called the Cult Leader.
Yes.
And the Cult Leader
is a big name.
Is a big name for your general.
So it doesn't account against your magic items like the Hellfist did.
Correct. A general or standard bearer only. The bearer has a range of commanding presence or rally round the flag increased to an additional 6 inches.
So it's an 18-inch.
Right.
Commanding presence.
Again, we'll see what the cost on this is. I mean, the goblins have an item that does this.
Yes.
Know? So, of course, we're goblins, not orcs. I mean, not ogres, but it applies to the whole army. Anyway.
Well, the difference is you have to take a goblin currently with a crappy leadership.
Well, I mean, you can use the thing I always use it for is the...
Yes, but then you got to use some of your magic item allotment to get
correct.
your thing.
Understood.
So, which you don't have to do here.
Right.
This guy can do it and even do better.
Right. Anyway,
I don't.
We'll see what it costs.
We'll see what it costs. I guess they want to keep this because the other item introduced ogres to the concept of MSU fighting, and since they got that buff, they can't lose it now. So it's now like, they want to keep it as the ultimate MSU army. Yeah, I mean it depends what it costs. I don't. And unless we don't know, maybe in version 2.0 they're going to change commanding presence and rally around the flag to something different than it currently does. But now it's just this bubble of impenetrable leadership, except on fluke rolls.
Mm-hmm.
And by having these things count on every single roll, discipline check you take, it's very powerful in the game. Having armies that can take out the 18 that supposedly have low leadership. Basically nullifies that, so they're paying the cheaper points for low leadership, but you're covering almost the entire table.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The goblin I've been playing, I think, is wrong, where he's got a leadership. A goblin. I've been playing a goblin command or whatever, the Lord level goblin with the 2 crowns, so he's leadership 9 with an 18-inch bubble.
Correct.
Which I think is just ridiculous in a goblin.
I think
in a goblin army to give an 18-inch.
I think the mechanic is a bad mechanic because what it does. Right. There's a huge problem in the game with rank and file mass troops. You have no choice because you'll just run away all the time if you don't do stuff like that.
Correct.
And unless they have fixed that in 2.0, we won't see. But ogres can put out a lot of damage. They're not goblins.
Yes, correct. They don't need to make up for it some other way.
Exactly. You can potentially have all your guys have strength 6 attacks if you give them take the heavy guys.
The bruiser guys.
The bruiser guys. So, I just don't. I don't know. I just think it's perpetuating this extending a leadership bubble, and where units are they're getting a discount for cheap leadership, yet they compensate by having an item. Now, if this thing costs that's full 200 points, that's fine.
It's not going to cost.
But it's not going to cost 200 points.
Right. All right. Next thing we have is the giant. They're having the standard giant everyone else does, but he has two choices.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I missed something.
3 things, right?
He has 2 choices, but he also gets the Son of the Avalanche, which gains D3 impact hits. It's a nice little taste for the giant. I mean, he's strength 5, so that's kind of neat.
I like that.
3 strength 5 impact hits. That's nice. D3.
Yeah.
In addition, he has 2 weapon choices.
I wouldn't mind it being D3 plus 1. He's big.
One is the standard ogre club.
Right, which most people have.
And the second one is an iron fist or a great weapon. A great weapon. It's just hilarious for me on a great weapon on a giant.
I don't know if you'd want to take that, but
actually, you might.
Initiative 0.
Just for 1 round. If you could switch weapons, it'd be fantastic.
If you got Weapon Master,
you're going to get charged by a unit of knights, so Look at that. Oh, look, I go last, so you can do 4 wounds to me, and I can gain 4 more attacks as I chop you up with my great weapon.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going last anyway because of...
Most things are going faster than me.
If they charge you.
Correct.
Because you want... The giant wants the wounds because it gets more attacks because every one it gets.
Anyway, it's kind of an interesting thing. I think it's a nice, fluffy thing. I don't know that you'll see it. I think the Iron Fist is going to be the answer.
Yeah. I mean, the club is nice because you get you're getting a plus. You'll strike first a lot of troops also if you charge with the Ogre Club because you go to 4. Right?
Yeah, same thing with the Iron Fist.
Yeah. Now the Iron Fist, you get your attack. You're on foot, so you get a parry. and
That's
you get
true. You are on foot.
Yeah, and you get a +1 armor save.
Oh,
now,
the Iron Fist is the way to go.
Does the thing have any armor?
I think he's got 6 up natural armor.
Yeah. So if he's got a 6 up, he'd become a 5 up.
Yeah, which is nothing you care much about, but
it helps you against shooting.
The thing that's big is he's only hit on 4s. Then
yes,
that's big.
If he gets the parry
in close combat, to be only hit on 4s is big for a giant because most of the times they're getting popped on 3s.
Yeah, in those few cases, yeah.
Okay. So he's got basically 3 weapon choices.
Right,
2.
right. I don't see the point of the great weapon, but myself.
Actually, I do. I think it should be fun.
I think it's fun, but yeah.
Strength 7 attacks, just chopping stuff up.
Park yourself inside and ask to be charged.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the club. I like the Iron Fist. I'm not so, but I like for a fluffy perspective, the impact
hits are fine.
Yeah, it seems very giant-like to me. They could all have that as far as I'm concerned, but yeah. I mean, I've liked what they. To a degree, I like what they've done with the Giants. We got to see what they're going to cost. That's what's going to make it determine if it's going to supplant other monsters in the game.
Correct. I mean, the strength 5 attacks aren't going anywhere, but the strength when you bump them with the the club to go to 6.
Yes,
that's kind of nice.
Oh, it's nice attacks.
So from what we've seen, the special weapons they allow them are also kind of interesting.
Yeah, and they give a little bit of flavor because everyone's a little different, so that's all cool.
So we've got the Rotten Jaw.
Yeah, Rotten Jaw. That's what you got.
It's another big name. Models on foot only. Bearer gains poison attacks and attacks against the bearer with poison attacks.
You know why you have the Rotten Jaw? Because you're rotten the core.
Rotten to the core.
Yes.
This is kind of what it used to be, but it used to they toned it down. This is definitely a nerf.
Yeah.
Because it also gave 1 turn only. It gave your entire unit poison.
Yeah.
So
which
now
made it just a character. Really I don't see anybody taking this.
Yeah. Not as much, no. Unless it's dirt cheap.
Unless it's dirt cheap and there's no other big game. You've used up all the other big names.
And you might not even spend the points on them.
Yes.
Horde Master. Used to gain you Weapon Master and plate armor.
Yes. But not anymore.
Not anymore. Now Horde Master gains you Weapon Master.
It's Coggins only, Kagans, whatever.
Coggins only?
Yeah, Kagans only.
Oh, not for your big guy. Or is that both of them?
No, you can't put it on like the mages.
Or the Mammoth Hunter?
Or the Mammoth Hunter, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think the Mammoth Hunter, yeah.
Were they all called Coggins?
The main characters were. Is that a Mammoth Hunter? The Coggins Mammoth Hunter?
No.
Yeah, it's different. So it's just a Coggins.
It's just the regular ogre.
Regular hero.
Great Khan and the Khan.
Yeah. Okay. Where was he? So now he gains Weapons Master.
Which, same as before.
Plate armor.
Yep. Still the same.
He comes with an Iron Fist. Comes with a great weapon, paired weapons, and a halberd. And no weapon by the bearer may take an enchantment.
With what? Paired weapons and what?
Paired weapon, I'd say halberd.
Okay.
What'd I say?
Halberd.
Oh, halberd.
There was another A slipped in there for somewhere.
I was thinking Halliburton,
That's good. Yeah. He comes with that?
He brings the corporation with him.
That's pretty good.
So, yeah. Halberd. So, no weapons. The English is my second language. Stop picking on me. No weapons carried by the bear may be enchanted.
This is interesting. We'll see how much this is
We'll see what it costs. Now, one of the problems up through 1.3 is Weapon Master was, with all the weapons options, was so overcosted because you basically had to pay for all the weapons that even though you could only use 1 per turn.
Correct. You paid for
with the ability. It was just insane, and anybody that had it. So hopefully they fix that.
Right. Now, this Horde Master used to cost 40 points.
Yeah.
So now you're gaining
All the weapons.
Which
before was probably, what, 20, 40, 50?
Well, a great weapon before for Great Khan cost 40,
yeah, 40.
and 30 for Khan.
Yeah.
So, and then the Iron Fist was 30 points for each one. So, I mean, you're talking between
70.
those first two, you're talking about 70.
Probably a good 100, 120 points.
And I can't imagine
on top of the 40. I can't imagine it's going to be 100.
I can't imagine it being 100, but we'll see.
We'll see what it is. But it fits the fluff of the guys. In the minus stairs, you can't take any magic. Of course, with all these weapon options, you don't really need any enchantments on the weapons.
None of them can be enchanted because you've got what you need each round of combat.
You're just going to take all your points and put them into defense so no one can kill you. Yeah.
So next we have the Charm of the Frost Titan.
Yes. Charm of the Frost Titans. It's a trinket.
These things are just gotta go.
It's an ogre trinket. It's an oxymoron. Ogre trinket. All enemy models in the entire rank belonging to the same rank as the enemy models in base contact with the bearer suffer -1 attack value to a minimum of 1.
Can that get...
Could that be written any more poorly?
No, maybe reworded due to issues with flanking.
But
no, it needs to be reworded due to issues with not understanding.
Exactly. So basically, this makes that particular ogre unit very resistant to elite infantry.
Yep.
And helps them with characters. Is it rank and file? Nope. Enemy models. So everybody loses 1 attack to 1. So Schmoes doesn't hurt them at all because they only have 1 attack.
Correct.
But
ogres don't need help versus Schmoes.
But any elite guys, all of a sudden, are probably going to, if they had 2 attacks, they're dropping to 1 attack.
Correct.
That's going to make some Highborn Elves very unhappy. and some Questing Knights very unhappy. I'm sorry, Grail Knights very unhappy. And some other people.
Well, Grail Knights aren't so bad because they just lose 3 attacks.
No, well, plus all the guys behind them.
No, they don't lose those. They have to be in contact.
Oh, that's true. You're right. So it's only 3. Oh, there you go.
Grail Knights won't be that upset.
So you're not so bad there. So you lose all those, and so the character is kind of can be a big deal.
Well, you're losing an attack.
Yeah,
that's always a big deal. Lose an attack
on a character because you're often counting on them if they're offensive.
Especially, we haven't seen whether it's going or not, but that stupid item that the ogres have always used, and that's the all attacks against me get their strength reduced to 5.
Yes.
Anyway. So.
Anyway. Yeah, I think this is.
I'm not.
Depends what this costs.
It depends what it costs.
But yeah, I don't know.
Ogres don't need.
I don't like this for ogres.
There's a lot.
I would like this for Highborn Elves.
And you'll see more coming up, but I don't like. Yes, exactly. I don't like seeing things that are reducing damage ogres are taking
on models that have multiple wounds that are hard enough to get rid of.
Correct. That's a problem I have, but we'll see how the army works out.
Yeah. Okay, next, the Ogre Belt.
Ogre Belt.
Is it made out of ogre?
It is.
That's kind of gross. You're wearing a belt made out of ogres. It'd be like wearing a belt made out of humans.
It grants additional protection while helping shaping the muscular bulk of the ogre. So it's a girdle.
It's a girdle.
It's a girdle.
It's a girdle. It's a girly man. A girly ogre.
It only works on light armor. The wearer gains +2 armor and +1 strength. Yay. That's interesting because the Khans always came standard before in the last edition with heavy armor.
Yeah.
So this is saying if that stays the same, this is saying this can't work with Khans.
Maybe, but now mages, shaman get light armor enhancement. So now you can give this to your shaman.
You can give this to your shaman
to get his strength up.
Now, what's interesting, the Mammoth Hunter previously came with light armor.
Yeah, so it works good on him.
So it would be a good thing for him if he's on foot, because it's only a model on foot.
So you can definitely kick up his armor really to a low number.
And it's +1 strength without AP, apparently.
That's what I'm reading.
Burst of strength can make a bone. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. That doesn't happen very often right now. I mean.
Oh, it does say. Never mind. In 2.0, Khans will have access to both light and heavy. Maybe if I read instead of just assuming things.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, fine.
So it just depends what it costs compared to heavy armor, because
Yeah.
it's basically plate armor.
With giving you +1 strength, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
It turns your light armor into plate armor and gives you +1 strength.
Sounds
Pretty
good.
nice. It sounds good, yeah. It's I mean, it doesn't bother me.
We'll see what it costs. And
I
either
mean,
way, it's not going to be a problem.
I mean, I don't mind that their guys are tanky.
Yep.
As long as they don't have any more multiple wounds.
Did we do 4? Did I skip 4?
I think we skipped 4.
That would be bad. This is 5. Doo-doo-doo. 4th preview. Yeah, we did.
Nope,
this.
we just
That's what we were just doing.
We just did that one. Sorry.
Okay.
It's just had so many things.
It had a lot.
They got a good number of spoilers with this army.
They do. They've told us a lot about this, which is kind of odd.
Which
because
means all the stuff's been approved.
No, it says some. They say everything's still subject to change.
Yes, but everything's been approved. If it's posted, it's been approved.
Okay.
For play testing.
All right. Hereditary spell. It's not the racial spell. It's the hereditary spell.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll have to remember that. I'll never remember that.
It might have a different game name by the time the 2.0 comes out, so we'll see.
Awakening the Ogres.
Yes, that's an awful name.
It's an 18-inch range. It's an augment. Lasts 1 turn. All melee attacks against the target suffer -1 to wound. Boosted version is additionally all shaman in the target gain +1 resilience. I don't see you ever having more than a single shaman, and I don't see paying the extra points to help your shaman this way. But maybe there's something I'm not seeing yet.
I'm sorry, paying the extra points.
Paying the extra casting cost.
Depends what the casting cost is.
This. Who knows what these are?
Exactly.
But this is definitely the boosted version. So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So.
Ogres are
more defensive capability.
More defensive capability for ogres.
In melee, at least.
Correct. So what we're seeing is ogres putting out more reliable damage
and they're
with the one
wound.
item and being harder to wound back.
In a number of ways. And this is important because it's not +1 resilience.
It's +1 toughness. I mean, -1 to wound.
It's -1 to wound, so no matter how strong you are, you're going to be -1 to wound.
And it's funny, too.
So it's actually better.
We wanted to do something different than simply adding resilience because that's not good enough. It should have this in parentheses.
Yes.
We wanted a more magical effect while playing on the ogres.
Yeah, we wanted something that was a better boost than just
so strength 7 and 8 guys that are wounding ogres on 2s anyway
are now
on 3s.
Yep, 6 or whatever. Everything's wounding on 3's best. You're going to wound this particular unit if he gets this off.
If he gets this off.
I hope it's not that type of spell. What was it called? The master spell you can cast multiple times. Whatever that.
No, Hereditary's. Oh, I don't know.
But then it depends if they give it the value or not.
That's a good point.
It's not listed here, so hopefully that's not going to happen. But still,
yeah.
It seems that they've decided that the weakness of the ogres is they take too many losses in melee, and they need to be buffed so they are more resilient in melee.
Well, yes,
because they're giving them a number of enhancements that is helping that stops them from taking damage.
Well, this is a -1 to wound.
Mm-hmm.
You can toss this on your toughness 5 troops.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do. Now you're toughness 5 with a -1 to wound.
Yeah.
Come on, really? That's necessary.
I think this is not a good. It doesn't, to me, seem to fit. At least what I think of an ogre, but this is. I prefer they did something that caused more damage instead of making them even harder to get rid of. If they just wanted to make ogres toughness 5, why didn't they just do it? But
I would have rather seen this +1 toughness spell as a +1.
I would prefer +1 toughness or +1 to wound. I'd prefer, but yeah. I'd prefer +1 to wound, frankly.
For the +1 to the ogre's chance to wound?
Yeah, it seems more ogre. Get to hit harder attacks.
To hurt people rather than prevent themselves from getting hurt.
Yeah, because you already put out a lot of attacks with the guys, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the counter now to the ogres is you have to outshoot them.
Yeah.
because you don't want to face big blocks of these guys with all these buffs on them. Man, think of those the mercenary guys.
Yeah.
With that and the other thing, man, you're never going to hurt them.
That's what I was thinking immediately.
Yeah.
The mercenaries or the Tuskers.
Or the
with
Tuskers.
Esco.
Oof, those two units are just... And frankly, even the...
At least the mercenaries are toughness 4, so it's only bumping them. It's not huge, but...
that helps.
It's the toughness 5 guys with -1 to wound.
Well, that's crazy. But even toughness 4...
Nuts.
You're basically toughness... You're better than toughness 5 on a toughness 4 guy. The difference between 4 and 5 is huge.
Correct, it is.
Because there's a lot of strength 3 in the game.
Yep.
Especially the most... a lot of ballistic skill shooting is strength 3.
4.
You know, there's a good number of strength 4 also, but... So, and... Yeah, I mean, wow, just poor humans and basic elves and
Right.
goblins and orcs at strength 3 trying to fight those guys. Oh,
Good luck.
winning on frickin' 6s. Oh, that's I think that's awful. I'm sorry.
Now they're going to talk about Tusker Cav, Rocks, and Thunder Cannons.
Yes.
So the Tusker Cav saw tons of use as the 2-man units using Iron Fist, so you no longer get parry. In addition, the Tuskers, they now start at unit size 3. But they can still add 2, so you can now go to 5, not 4 Tuskers.
So the big thing is you're not gonna see the little units of 2 running around as
Correct, which I think
chaff
which is a definite nerf to the ogres.
Seth chariots. It's a nerf because that's how you tended to see them if people took them.
Correct. You usually saw 1 or 2 units of 2 of them.
And they slowed down their march, which is the other thing. So they can't march 16 any longer.
Correct.
They march 14, so they're a little slower on the march. So
which I think both of these are good changes.
those are good changes. Go in the 5, so they're trying to get you to, and we'll see what the points are going to be. That's going to make the determination.
I think the points will probably stay close to where they were.
Assume they will, but we'll see. But maybe people want to play bigger units now that we'll see what.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they do with them.
Yeah, and they don't have Swift Stride, or does a Tusker? No,
Tusker has Swift Stride.
Does it?
It always has.
Okay, I don't see it listed here, so that's what I'm wondering.
Okay, that's a good point.
I'm going to assume it does, or is it the case where the restraints always have Swift Stride? Maybe.
Or Cav always have Swift Stride.
Yeah, well, it's restraints. That's that rule, I guess. But the cavalry is a title, right? Oh, type is cavalry.
Type is Cav, which is
yeah. So cavalry always has Swift Stride. Right. So that answers that, and they're still large. So,
yep.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. Wouldn't be. It's not the first time.
Yeah. Well,
I will continue. We will continue on that.
Let me know when one of us does make sense.
Yeah.
All right. We'll have to mark that down.
Exactly.
Whatever that show is, we'll tape that one and send it to Blonde Beer.
There we go.
Here's we finally found one that made sense. Here,
then he'll
do something with this.
Then he'll really laugh and shake his head.
Exactly.
What a bunch of maroons.
So, overall, it's a definite nerf. The Tuskers have taken a hit in this edition. It looks like to me.
Yeah, it's a hit.
Both ways. Their march went down. They lost their Iron Fist, and now you can't do the 2 units of 2 anymore.
I didn't lose it. It's just it doesn't do all the stuff that it did before.
Well, they lost the parry. I'm sorry. They lost the parry on the Iron Fist.
And the initiative boost.
The big thing was the parry, to where these guys, because these guys are only weapon skill 3.
Correct.
Weapon skill 3.
Yeah, so it's a little easier.
A lot of times they were going to getting hit on 3s, and then the parry brought them up to 4s.
Correct. Quite often.
So I think that's definitely a hit.
So the unit, this unit is taking a hit.
Taking a couple little hits.
I will agree.
I don't think they're major. It's taking hits.
Yeah. And it's probably, and frankly, because they're a little easier to hit, you want more of them again.
Right. That brings us to the Rock.
Yes. The monster that everybody wants.
So the Frenzy...
Or wants to be like.
Frenzy has changed a lot.
Yes.
It's no longer immune to psychology, but it takes panic checks at +2 discipline.
Okay, so this thing is a discipline 8, so it'll take panic checks.
If it stays at 8.
Well, above it was 8, right?
That's the Tuskers. That's not right.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Yeah.
If it used to be 8, if it stays at 8, it means it's taking panic.
It'll be at a 10.
It's no longer immune to psychology, but it's got a leadership 10 check.
Yeah. So it means it can flee.
Right.
Unless there's a rule in Frenzy.
It can panic.
No. I mean, flee if somebody charges you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming so. Take it plus 2
I haven't seen the rule, but that's what it'll imply.
And it says, however, it's now much more likely to charge stuff. When doing a frenzy test, you take a -2, so you're testing at 6 to withstrain from
Right, if you're not charging.
To compensate, the force charge range is now what your advance is plus 7. So and I think this is...
So it's basically your march distance
I think this is across the board. Not necessarily your march, but your average charge, which is 2d6, which is 7, plus your advance.
Oh, you think it's plus 7? I would just assume it was 7.
So I think infantry,
its movement was 7.
Like my feral orcs, I think is going to be
11?
The force charge is going to be 11.
Oh, okay.
Not 16, which is their max. I think it's going to be 11.
Oh, I thought it was just the march range. So
that's the way I understood.
It'd be like 8. I guess we'll see.
This, but we'll see.
All right.
Because advance is the short one, yeah. Okay.
Correct.
So this one, this will be. I think this thing used to use move 7, so this will be 14. Did it move 7 before? I don't know.
Is it 8 or 7? Maybe it was 8.
Was it 8?
I think it was 8.
It was 7 before.
It was 7. Okay.
It was 7. Anyway.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what that means.
So, but frenzy also means it's +1 to be hit.
In melee.
In melee.
Yes.
It used to be a hit on a. It used to have a lower weapon skill. It had a weapon skill of 3 previously. That means most things are hitting it on a 3. Now it's going to drop to 2.
Up to now, everything that we've seen with frenzy, they've also dropped the defensive weapon skill 2 or
Correct.
1.
And I think they said something here. Defensive weapon skill has been reduced to 2.
So yes.
So it's going to be hit on 2s.
Yes.
In
So
melee.
pretty much every
things.
frenzy thing now is hit on 2s.
Yes, which is really terrible.
Unless you have super high toughness.
Yeah.
This does have good toughness, so it's better at taking it than most other things.
It does get battle focus, which means any rolls of 6 to hit now double, so it becomes 2 hits.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Slightly better than the old +1 attack. Yeah, I agree with that.
It is because it's a single model on top with what 5 attacks. So
yeah, it has 5. If it stays the same, it had 5.
Yeah, so for this particular model, it's better.
New rules of mind, general directive to make frenzy units easier to hit. So they talk about that.
Yes.
Then there's a strength. The strength of 7 they thought was too much. They dropped it to strength 6.
Yeah.
But it does gain +1 strength on the charge.
So it's probably gonna get devastating
that
charge.
That still applies
6.
to impact hits. Most bonuses
do not apply to impact hits.
Attacks. This one does.
So they're gonna make it
still going to be strength 7 impact hits, which is what it was before.
Yeah, but yeah.
So basically, they're going to keep its impact hits where they were.
It's charge where it is, but in the following on rounds, it's not going to be strength 7.
And even the attacks in the first round are dropping strength. They used to be 7. Now they're going to be 6.
But they'll get +1 for the charge.
Sorry, strength 7. Yeah, on the rounded charges, it'll stay where it was, exactly where it was. After the charge, it'll be weaker, or if it gets hit.
Yes, right.
Offensive weapon skill of 4 for the rider, because he used to be 3, now he gets 4.
This should be slightly better.
That brings the model up.
Yes.
Because you use the rider's skill. Does that break this? No, because it's a monster, so you use the monster skill. Never mind.
Yeah.
No, okay, never mind.
Right.
Okay. So the rider's going to hit a little bit easier, which fine.
That's fine.
It's just going to say this extra because making him weapon skill 4
I actually
make people try a lance.
I'm of the opinion that I think the ogres they've given him far too many buffs and always take funky ways. I'd much rather they just gave him higher weapon skill.
Right.
So they hit more. I think it fits the guys better than all these
all the weird
funky things that end up really buffing their strong units. But anyway.
So, the Rock took a little bit of a hit as well. It lost its stubborn.
It's taking a hit.
It's
losing the stubborn's a big deal.
Losing stubborn's a really big deal. The frenzy to make it so easy to hit now is going to hurt it a little bit.
A little bit. It's tough enough it can take it usually.
But things hitting it on 2s are pretty bad.
It is. If they have high strength, it is.
So
I think a lot of those things. We're hitting on 3s before, so the big things.
Yeah, it's still adding 1 and 6 hits to it.
Yeah, elves were hitting on 2s anyway.
That's true.
So
It doesn't help elves.
Doesn't help elves any. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think it is a hit. It's just tougher things like this can handle a little better than units that are toughness 3 or toughness 4.
Correct.
But yeah, it's definitely, to me, the loss of the stubborn
is huge.
It's quite huge. Yeah.
Right, and the frenzy hit is big to this thing, I think. Too.
I mean, the thing can put out some pain. But
I mean, it's toughness. It's only toughness. I mean, I say only, but it's only toughness 6.
Only.
So strength 5 thing is getting a hold of it with that extra plus to hit.
Yeah, if you get enough of them in there,
is going to really make a difference now.
Yeah. So.
The only other thing on this one, the next one we have is cannons. The Thunder Cannon lost its swift stride, is what they're telling us.
Yes.
They said the big, huge cannon thing, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't stand with swift stride. That's fine. Anyway.
So you're less likely to use it as a monster.
Because they're saying that
it's harder to use as a monster once you can't shoot it anymore.
The main problem was that it did both its jobs as a cannon and a chariot really too well. And that's the way I felt about this piece as well.
To me, the problem with the piece was its toughness, not any of these other rules that it had.
What, the Thunder Cannon?
Yeah.
It's only tough 5.
It's a 5, yeah.
Yeah, that's not terrible.
For a shooting weapon.
I mean, an Orc Chariot's a toughness 5.
I understand. It's a shooting weapon, so...
Oh, okay.
Everybody else gets their shooting weapon silence on what's only toughness 4.
Well, everyone complained about, it costs 300 points. And I'm like, well, my catapult costs 200 points, and on a 1 or if I roll a misfire 1 or 2, I don't do anything for the rest of the game. At least you're still a chariot moving around.
I mean, you're a light monster moving around,
yeah.
And you can't be attacked by any kind of chaff.
No, because that changed to the attacking all around. Remember the old where mounts didn't attack to the flanks?
Correct. But with that, I mean, it'll kill most chaff that try to fight it. So
yes,
it doesn't have to worry about getting auto hits like chaff, like most war machines.
Correct.
So
it's still a little underpriced, I believe, but whatever.
Instead of the swift stride, I'd rather it just wasn't quite as tough.
Okay, and that brings us to their last update.
Yep.
Part 7. In Part 7, we're going to talk about the Stratapult. The other war machine.
Yes, the one I see tons of.
Has not seen a lot of play in 1.3. I disagree.
Really?
That's what they're saying.
I guess in Europe they don't use it.
Here
they're everywhere. They're like freaking M&Ms.
Yes, I even saw one new army with 3.
Yeah. Wow.
The problem with it, according to them, is it's slightly too easy to kill. Because of its range, it's 48-inch range. Anyway, that doesn't have to be in the front range for range.
That's across the table.
Yeah, I mean, that's from one edge of the table to the other. It's 48 inches across.
I don't understand that. Okay.
Anyway.
Is designed to shoot at large blocks, something like we don't see in their meta. Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, you don't see the mega blocks anymore, generally.
And it says that, anyway. Bit 2 dependent on lethal strike versus armor target. So, it's pretty funny, though. Beside these points, it's a bad model, and the concept, it's not a bad model, the concept works. We don't want to change a lot of scrap, but we just want to make it. So what we do, we increase the resilience to 5.
So it's...
Now it's a tough one
again. Now it's a tough 5, so...
And again, I don't necessarily mind it for like I said before, an Orc Chariot's 5. But...
If it didn't shoot, I'd be fine with that.
To better reflect its counterpart, the
I think that's a mistake, but okay.
And they gave it Swift Stride.
Kept Swift Stride.
Well, they say kept, but I don't think it had it before. Unless Chariots had it by default.
Yeah, Chariots.
Okay.
So kept Swift. So this one has Swift Stride, but the other one lost it.
Correct.
Okay, that makes sense. Oh, the other one gained it, I guess. Oh.
No, the other one lost it.
Lost it, yeah.
Cannon lost it.
Yeah, but this one gained it.
Right.
Yeah. And it's... Okay, whatever.
So it says, we increase the resilience to 5, blah, 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 blah. In order to make the shooting a bit less versatile, we opted to try reducing the area to 5, but add AP1. So hopefully mean a bit more. This is ridiculous because they're kind of...
This is ridiculous.
Sorry. I shouldn't say that. This is kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe disingenuous?
Disingenuous is the word you're looking for.
Disingenuous because they're saying, oh, well, we're going to take this nerf to reduce the area to 5, but add AP1. Well,
but above
they just said up here
that they don't
that these large blocks don't
exist anymore.
So it's not, if these two sentences can't...
Exactly.
So basically what they're saying is they added AP1.
Since we don't get the benefit of it, we're going to add AP1.
Correct. So anyway.
So it's even better against...
It's even better against shooting, unless you happen to have 6 wide, 6 deep unit.
Yeah, which is our crappy guys who are getting wounded like crazy. It's still strength 3, which is...
And now AP1.
AP1 and lethal strike, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's, and 5x5 is...
Yeah,
I mean,
a crap load of models.
I mean, if they raise the price of it, it'll be okay, I guess.
I doubt seriously you're going to see a price raise.
Increase the price points by about 50%. Then it'll
You're
make
not going to
sense.
see it. I can tell you right now, it's an ogre item. They're not going to see a rate increase.
Yeah, I mean, to me,
ogres have good lobbyists.
It would seem so. It would seem so. Yeah, they. Okay, yeah.
There's certain armies that must be, because they have like paymasters and stuff like that, and they work their mercenaries from the old fluff. They're mercenaries. They work for money, so they've got lots of money to invest into.
There's some ogres actually. Are you saying there's actually some ogres on the 9th age, and they're actually paying people off? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, then it's the lobbyists.
I've only seen their avatars, so I haven't.
We live in DC. We know about lobbyists.
That's true. That's true.
Whoever gets the most money to spread around is the one that gets
that
it.
Must be what it is.
Ogres have good lobbyists.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, like I said, over
second only to dwarves.
Yeah, exactly. And then beast herds aren't too far ahead, too far behind. I mean, I'm glad they reduced to 6x6, which I thought was just broken in the game anyway.
I thought 6x6s are
unless they were strength 2. I mean, strength 2, I thought it was okay, but anything above that was excessive. I thought.
Right.
But, okay, 5. But you're keeping the strength and you're adding AP.
Yep.
And you're making the thing more resilient. So, because before it was 4, at least you could go after it with some of.
Well, even bows wounding it on 5s were
had a chance. Now they have to have 6s unless they have strength 4. They have poison, and light cavalry now can't charge this thing.
No. Not at all.
Because they're maybe they can. It depends on light cav, I guess, but more expensive light cav.
Really?
I wouldn't send an eagle into it.
I wouldn't send strength 4 troops into it. Not with that big Rhinox thing pulling it, turn around, bite my head off.
Yeah, it's only got 3 attacks, and I guess how many grapplings does this thing have
7.
on it? Yeah, it's a whole bunch of strength 3 attacks.
They're wounding you on 4s.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right.
I think this is better. I don't like the raising the resilience 5 because it shoots. But because it shoots and has a fighting ability, I think those two things together they stack on palm one another.
I don't mind. I didn't really mind the cannon having toughness 5, resilience 5. I'm not thrilled about this going up to 5 because this was.
To go into AP1, you mean?
No, I mean just the resilience 5.
Yeah,
It didn't bother me so much on the cannon. The resilience 5 on this one kind of bugs me a little bit. And the AP1 I think is ridiculous, but whatever.
Yeah, because it's still good against any horde armies. Not there aren't that many, but horde armies tend to only be 5 wide because you need a depth.
Right.
So really, you're losing 5 guys you're attacking, but you're improving the probability on those 25 guys, 1 in 6 of those. So 4 guys are not going to pass their armor save because of this AP1.
Correct.
So, yeah, which is better than trying to wound 5 guys with strength 3,
which is 2.5.
Which is 2.5, who also
plus
got their armor
save. Of them save.
Yeah, so against buses, it's overall better, and of course against heavier targets, it's better.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at even Equitane. 2-up armor.
Oh, the whole lance gets hit with this.
The whole lance gets hit with it, and they all fail their saves on 1s and 2s.
Yeah,
1/3 of them fail their saves.
Well, if he rolls a 6, there's no save.
And if he rolls a 6, there's no save.
And then after that, one You know,
Correct.
so he's losing 2 of them from the wounds,
And a third.
and the other 10 are, you know, a third of those. So you're killing probably 3 more. So you're probably going to lose 5 guys to one of these hitting you.
Right. Unless your ward save picks up.
Unless they do something amazing with the ward save.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay.
Anyway, I think we
Moving on.
beat this one. We just think
Yeah,
this is the wrong direction.
I don't think we can beat anything in this army to death.
Yeah.
Sorry. And we have the Rhino hide, which is a suits of armor enhancement.
Yes.
Enchantment.
Plus
+1 resilience, but cannot take any special saves. I'm okay with this. I think that's a trade-off.
Makes a character higher toughness. Works for me with the armor on a character.
Yep.
You think of this army as having the big, tough, strong characters.
Yep.
And it's got a trade-off. Yeah.
And it's got a trade-off because he gives up any special saves.
Yeah. No, I'm okay with that.
Yep. I think that's fine.
Yep. I'm fine with that.
Giant update, clickbait, designing the giants, concept deals, concept giant. Yell from ogres, had a ton of suggestions, really wanted to highlight giant. Learn the following about the last time you learned him. Giant has march to the beat, rule for musician, which with range increased to 18.
Oh.
So anyone within 18 of a giant has to roll at a -1 for making a march test.
If they don't have a musician.
If they don't have a musician. So, anyway, that's kind of just a neat fluff thing. I mean, it might come in handy a little bit, but it's...
It does make it more difficult to outmaneuver the ogres, potentially.
Potentially.
Not a lot, but...
I mean, a lot of those things that are working around the flanks are light troops, which always had free reform anyway. And did they pay for March? I guess they still did.
Still have to pay for March, yeah.
So maybe that does limit that a bit.
So it affects that. And MSU lists, you know, that can't face them and trying to get around them so they can fight them. So you're, you know, reducing the probability of them getting around.
Yep.
All of a sudden you go maybe from 8s to 7s or 7s to 6s. That can make a big difference.
Yeah. So
that's very fluffy for the army.
I'm okay with it though. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Although, you know, with this, it's a lot of, their giants got a lot of things. They got impact hits. They got this.
Yeah.
They got
we'll see how much
weapons choices.
How much the giant costs. But, yeah, that's something that people have to really be mindful of. Okay.
Yep. All right. That's going to do it for the ogres.
That wraps up the ogres.
You know what's, I thought I saw, I digress. I thought I saw at one point, at some point the armies were doing something like 4 buffs / streamlines, 4 nerfs.
Yeah.
Right? I thought I saw that. Well, that's 4 and 4 to me adds up to 8. I see 7 things here, and most of these were multiples. How does that come up before more than 8?
Well, it seems to me that the different army book committees had a different understanding, because some seems to like apply it to the nerf was, I'll just take 1 unit in the army and change 1 thing on that unit, and that counted as my nerf.
Right.
Whereas others, it was like, oh, I'm going to take all of this type of troops or all of this category of upgrades, and it all counts as 1 nerf.
Even though virtues.
It's like virtues for Equitane, you know, 4 of those got nerfed. So I think there's probably just inconsistency on what, you know, how nerfs the 4 and 4 was applied, and then even the 4 buffs we see.
Right.
There's different. Some buffs seem to be very, very minor. Other buffs seem to be fantastic, and you see a buff could be just the 1 unit, or it could be a whole class. So there does seem to be variability on how.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of different things.
So I think we can't read too much into the 4 and 4.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So anyway,
we can't take it literally because plus you can't tell because there's also the design change streamlining because of the changes in the rules, and sometimes that becomes an additional buff or an additional nerf. They said that before. That could happen, right? Because like the Iron Fist for these guys, I mean, it's a nerf.
It's a nerf.
Right. So
it's a well-deserved nerf, but it's a nerf.
But they didn't pay that against their nerfs. That's an additional nerf that they got. Right.
Is that the way you interpret that?
That's the way I interpret that. You know.
Okay.
But there's like people who have lots of spears. We think spears have been buffed. You know. So if you've got a lot of spear units in your army.
For some units, I don't think spears are. I think spears. Well, anyway, we've talked about that.
So we'll just say, so if you've got those in your army, you got a free buff potentially.
Right. Correct.
That's all I'm saying. And
Yeah,
if you had multiple units and you got, just how. So I think that 4 and 4 can be interpreted different ways. So I don't get too locked up on that. It's just when I read that something is a nerf and you read it and it's like, this isn't really a nerf. It's really either no change or in the grand scheme of things, especially when you put it with other things, it's actually a buff and you're calling it a nerf. That's
like that Scrapple. Well, it used to hit 6 wide. We're going to cut that down to 5.
Yeah.
And then he says, well,
which sounds like a nerf, but no one's ever 6 wide, so it doesn't really count.
Like,
so
no one ever has big units on any of the board.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, not totally true, but reasonably true. But so yeah, so you think you run into kind of things like that, or things that are just different, and they call it a buff. It's like, well, it's just it's easier to understand, but doesn't make it more effective. It just means it's easier to play. But so I mean, we'll see what happens. But overall, I think so far, and at least in my opinion, the Ogre Kingdoms have come out of this pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, of course, these are 7 things we preview. That could be
exactly. We don't
there
know
could
what
be
the rest.
15 things where they're hammered behind the scenes, and we
still don't know what the basic rule book looks like.
Yeah, we
which
don't know
could
what the
nerf
points
even more
look like.
stuff. We don't know what the points look like. So
correct.
And I mean, I'll still stand what I say.
Who knows? Maybe monstrous infantry don't. Well, I know we've already seen that, haven't we?
But we don't know.
Maybe they don't provide as many as sporting attacks, but I think we've seen that.
I think we have, but at the end, we don't know what points are either. And back to the point, if you point stuff enough,
correct,
doesn't matter how good it is. It costs enough to compensate for that. If it ends up being half your army
to a
points,
certain extent,
I
mean, you get some unkillable thing, then it doesn't matter how much it costs. Then it's going to roll on the field and just die.
But if it's 50% of your army points, then
it's 50% of your army points you can't ever lose.
If you can never lose it, but then they don't have nothing else and you don't fight it, you kill everything else because there's not enough other stuff to fight your army off. So
I agree in general what you're saying is as long as it's pointed correctly.
So if we see lots of increases in points and things, and then that changes the mechanic. But anyway, on the surface, from what we've seen so far, it seems the ogres have done quite well. Ogre players will disagree, but
well, I mean, the ogre players are going to be really hurt about I would think about the Iron Fist.
I think,
and especially
they have 3 things that is going to bother them. I think the Iron Fist is going to bother them. I think the Rock is going to bother them.
Yep.
And I think their table-wide BSB is going to bother them.
I don't think that's going to bother ogre players because I think most reasonable people I've talked to, even most reasonable ogre players, if that's not an oxymoron. No, most ogre players, even most ogre players I've talked to, have said that that's broken and ridiculous.
It'll still bother.
Anyway, okay.
Yeah. But at least it's true because they still got something that goes out to 18, so
yeah,
it does the same thing.
Nowhere near as good, but again,
at least you have to kill that guy. You can if you can kill that guy,
die.
You can get rid of it at least.
So, but like I said, most ogre players did not.
Yeah.
Most of the ogre players I talked to did not have a problem with that going away, as they thought it was ridiculous.
Yeah, once they fully understood it.
So,
but those are the things that I think are the general hits. But we'll see.
All right, thanks for listening.
Till next time.